Here we are then, guys, the IH. So I'm just going to walk around the vehicle pointing out some of the things we discussed on handover, but just as that second look at it so you've got a reminder. So if we want to get underneath the bonnet, we need to pull that lever just there. Filling up with diesel, it's just behind this cap here, and we do that with the driver ignition key. To swivel the seats, you've got two levers. The front left one adjusts the reclineness of the seat, which we can adjust, and this front right one here then allows us to swivel like so, and it will lock in this position, and as you guys taught me, it'll also lock in that position going the opposite direction. Your electric step is controlled by this button just here, and down for out. Obviously the table and the worktop, we know how to get those up, so I'm not going to waste your time on the video with that. Behind this closing door, underneath, you've got your fresh water drain. Now if you see underneath there, that's your fresh water tank. That's what fills up when we turn the hose pipe on. To drain this off, we just need to simply twist this lever like so, and it'll start draining that tank. Closing it off is just like that. Coming around to the back of the motorhome, you've got your gas locker. So when we're travelling in this motorhome, that gas bottle needs to be strapped in and turned off whenever we're moving it anywhere. So always turned off. Now when you come to a campsite, you need to come to your gas bottle, and this little brass fitting, we need to turn left. That opens it. Turning right closes it, left opens it. So once we've turned that, we've got gas onto the vehicle. In your boot storage, you've got a jack in there, and you've got your fridge vent covers, along with a little IH shelf and cutlery compartment drawer, and then all your carpets. Your tow bar's quite self-explanatory, and your reverse and rear view camera are fully adjustable with the Allen key bolts on the side. When we're cleaning the motorhome, just make sure not to jet wash too close to it. So coming around, we've also then got your heater vent. So this vent will come on when we've got the heating hot water on gas. Your hookup lead for charging your batteries, powering your fridge, and things like that, and your heating hot water. Your toilet cassette, you know how to empty, but obviously what you do need to do is fill its flush up. So once that level there runs down to about this point here, we know the flush is empty. To fill your water tank flush up, we take this cap off just here, and we simply tip our pink liquid and water into there until the water level is at where it's at now on that reader. To fill up your fresh water, you simply undo turn the key, swivel this out like so, and quite literally put a hose pipe straight in. You don't need one of these ends on it, you just need the hose pipe to go straight in. And those black fridge vent covers in the boot are what goes over here when we're either cleaning the motorhome or storing it in winter. And then you've got your wastewater outlet just down there, exactly the same style tap as what you saw on the other side. If I twist it vertical, it'll start draining your wastewater out just like so, as you can see. So I'll leave that draining because we don't need any wastewater on board while you're going home. So I'll leave that draining for the rest of the handover. And then on the outside, guys, that's it. So inside the motorhome, I've just showed you where to drain your fresh and your wastewater. When you're done with the motorhome, we actually also need to be able to drain off your boiler. So I'll just put my zoom on. We're going to go in the motorhome. We're going to come to the back here, lift this board up underneath the chair, and lift this board out of here, and quite literally get to that yellow tap you can see, if I put to 1x zoom, and lift that yellow tap up just like that. That is then going to drain the boiler that's on the other side of this wall here under this board. So we need to drain the boiler because obviously we don't want water staying in the boiler for too long, evaporating, leaving salt deposits in there. And also we don't want it doing it because when water stays in a place for a long time, it gets stagnant. Underneath this bench, you've got your mains fuse board, which you can see in the corner just there, and it also links onto that storage that you can get to from the back. In your kitchen, you know how to do your hobs. I'm not going to waste time with that. You know the telly plugs in up here. So this works off your leisure battery, this plug. This worked when you're plugged in with a hookup lead. That's your aerial cable that's connected to the aerial in that wardrobe that we'll get to. The TV should be left in this position when travelling. It can be on while travelling because it's battery powered. You've got storage in all of these. The only thing worth mentioning is in this back one is your solar controller, so you don't need to touch that. That's telling you now solar's charging the battery, and obviously it'll just keep doing that. You've got some USBs here for charging as well, which is also a bonus, but you don't need to touch that. You just let that do its thing. Storage in here, then we're on to the heating hot water. So primarily the vehicle's run off gas. So when you get to it, it'll be just like this in the off position. Now, if you want hot water for a shower, I want you to turn it to that point there, and that's it. If you wanted hot water on a shower using your electric because you're on a campsite, you're going to switch that on, and then you're using gas and electric. If you want to wash the pots, you want it on that one. To turn the system off, put it on that one. If you want the heating on with no hot water, it needs to be on that one, and then we choose the temperature of the heating, one being 19 degrees, 9 being 30, and your bottom one is for when you want heating and hot water. So you turn it on, select your heating temperature with this dial, and then your water will be going to 60 degrees. If you switch this on as it is now, you'll be using gas and electric. If you have that off, it's just gas. But when you do turn it on, the electric does take up to 70% of the workload, so you'll be using very little amount of gas, which obviously preserves your gas supply. To turn it off, just switch to that position there, and you'll see the lights dim out. Your control panel. So when you come to the motorhome, it'll be just like that, completely off. So I want you to come in, turn it on. That's its wake up sign. That tells us we're plugged in and powered up. This turns the water pump on, that turns the lights on, and that turns anything in the back that's powered off the vehicle battery, which can only be said speakers. Now on this side we've got internal temperature and external temperature. If we click this one, if we click again back to the main panel, click that one, you've got your habitation battery levels, 13.5 volts, and then we've got how much ampage we're drawing off the habitation battery. Then we've got vehicle battery levels at 12.8, and then back to the main panel. And this one here is your fresh water. So as you've got your hose pipe in on the outside, we click this one to check how much fresh water we've got in. When that's 100 or 90, turn the hose pipe off, your tank is full. When that goes from, when you've filled that up once and it goes back down to 20%, we know we need to drain off your wastewater tank, because the fresh water was at 100. I've got it down to say 30 as it is now, which then I know 70% of that water is now in the wastewater tank, which is in the back, and we drain on that side, so we need to empty that out. In the wardrobe, you've got your TV aerial and booster, so you can turn your TV aerial booster on and off with this here. Your aerial's just here, so when you get to a campsite, I'll put the zoom on like that again so you can see a bit better. I want you to twist, when you get to a campsite actually, you'll get there and it'll look like that. Then you need to twist this to loosen it, push the aerial up, and then twist that to lock the aerial in to get your best picture. When you're driving, the aerial needs to be put back down to the lowest point, and we always need to twist that so it locks it off nicely. Your fuse boards in here for your 12 volt fuses. As you can see, if I put on the one-time zoom, they are labelled to a degree. So you see how that's got a light bulb, that's got a tap so it's your water pump, that's got a fire so it's your heater, that's your auxiliary for your speakers, that's heating. And if you look down that one, then you've got your fridge, your TV, it's all there, all labelled up, and in your book packs you've got the manuals to double up for it. And this is your charger, so if I turn that off, we're not charging the battery with the hookup. If I push it on, we're now, that hookup lever we've got in is charging the battery. This is here for the table in the back that you put in the hole in the floor. The table topper for it is just up there with your awning wind out tool. Below that you've got a pull out extendable worktop, which also has a hidden storage unit just underneath. Your fridge is a three-way fridge, so at the minute it's running on gas. If I turn to that, it's running now on hookup, and if I started the vehicle engine and turn to that, it'd be running on battery. Now, gas and the hookup will both reduce the temperature of the fridge. The battery will only ever maintain whatever temperature you set it at before you started the engine. So rule of thumb is you're going away at 12 midday, you get this vehicle and you cool the fridge at 11 o'clock in the morning on gas or a hookup. After that hour, the fridge will be down to temperature, but you've selected on this side, and then just before you set off to go to your campsite, you turn it onto battery, you start the engine, and whatever temperature you've managed to get this fridge down to within that hour, it will then maintain that temperature until you get to your campsite. You'll turn up at your campsite and you'll either be putting it back onto electric or gas, and that's it. When you're driving, make sure this is slid to the right to lock the fridge. To access the fridge, we slide to the left and it is now fully unlocked. When we're driving, slide it over. Simple as that, guys. In here, you've got your gas taps to isolate your fridge, your cooker and your boiler. Obviously your toilet flush with the button, you know how to empty the cassette, the shower, you know how to get, obviously. The only thing I would say is when you come to a campsite and you fill your fresh water up outside, you then need to come inside, turn your panel on, obviously check your water levels, you know you've got water in because it's filling up, turn your pump on, and then we need to come to the basin unit and run the cold side until we get a full flow of water like this, and the hot side. And on both sides, once we've got a full flow of water with no coughing and spluttering, we know that the water system's fully primed back up. Once the system's watered and primed up at the taps, that's when we can go to the boiler and ask for hot water, because that's when we know the boiler's full of water. But other than that, guys, it's a cracking motorhome. I really hope you enjoy it. It's been a pleasure working with you both, and get some good use out of it and have a good time at Sherwood at the weekend. Cheers, guys.